I'm not gonna stand here and pretend to have been a fan of Linkin Park since the band was called Zero, or when Chester was in the band Grey Days, or Phoenix was in the band Tasty Snacks. No, I'm a big nerd, and I found them thanks to downloading a bunch of Dragon Ball Z and Naruto anime music videos off the internet in 2004. I remember hearing songs like Numb, In the End, Nobody's Listening, My December, and Paper Cut, and wanting to hear them on repeat over and over and over again. I was in love with Chester's voice, and how it could make any night go from feeling completely alone to having someone who might understand my experiences and what I was going through, and translate them in a way that just made sense, whether lyrically or through the emotional tonality of the songs. In 2006, my father passed away. He had ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, and maybe I'll elaborate on my experiences in dealing with that in another video one day. What I can say now, though, is I needed Linkin Park more than ever. I was mourning. I was continuing to battle my now worsened depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. I was going through high school. I was dating, breaking up, thinking my heart was broken, dating, breaking up, thinking my heart was broken again. Yeah, repeat that one a few times. I remember when the music video for What I've Done came out on the internet in early April of 2007. And I freaked out. At the time, I wasn't following amazing fan sites like Linkin Park Live or Linkin Park Association or anything. Just Linkin Park's MySpace. And I don't think I had any idea that they were making new music leading up to that moment. The song is really special to me in a sense because it was the first Linkin Park song I kind of experienced with the rest of the world, and I was just so happy. I think I joined Linkin Park Underground, the Linkin Park fan club, that year too, because I joined when it was still LPU 7. Which, by the way, my name is listed in the physical copy of the LPU 11 CD. Just saying. I saw Chester's band, Dead by Sunrise, a side project that he did with members of Julian K, at the Gramercy Theater in New York City on October 14th, 2009. That night changed my life. I was front row after waiting for hours with my mother in New York City at the Gramercy Theater. The show itself was amazing. I couldn't believe I was so close to him. I captured the first moment of the show on my camera until the security guard told me we weren't supposed to be recording. But it didn't affect my enjoyment of the show at all. They performed so many songs I love, from Fire to Let Down. There was this hilarious moment when a fan threw a CD on the stage, or what I presumed to be their local band, trying to get Chester to pick it up and give it a listen. He does, and then goes ahead and says,
"Alright, this next song is oh, cool, it's that sex tape someone stole from my house. Appreciate that. That's really cool of you to return that to me before you sold it off to somebody. It made me look like an asshole. What sucks is that it's just me masturbating. That's the worst part. Not very sexy.
Anyway, Chester even grabbed my hand in the middle of my favorite Dead by Sunrise song, Inside of Me. But after the show, he came down and he was saying hello to everyone. This man had saved my life with his voice and the words behind it. I respected him so much as a person, and through it all, I don't think I'd be here without his career. So when he finally got to me, I shook his hand and said thank you. And then he looked at my mother, who was still with me at the front of the stage, and she says to him, "You saved his life." He then hugged me. Just like that, a man who was in a band that's won so many awards, including Grammys and tours for thousands, was so humble. I then built up the courage to ask him to take a photo with me, and he graciously said yes. I tried to take the photo of us, and the flash didn't go off. But then he took my camera, held it up with me. Our insanely sweaty faces were touching, and we took this photo. with me noticeably trying to hold myself together. Just to have that kind of patience and love for his fans, it gives my skin absolute chills. It was one of the best moments of my life. He's one of the reasons I'm still alive, and I'm so thankful. I never thought I'd get a chance to take another picture with him, but I did. 1,000 Suns changed my life and completely opened my world to different kinds of music, to the point where I no longer believe that genre is necessarily relevant to one's capability to enjoy a song. I remember when I first listened to the album, no one was home, and I was dancing around my room blasting the MP3s I just downloaded through my loudspeakers. And then the song Iridescent came on, and I straight up wept. No song had affected me in such a way until that song did. When I first heard it, it felt like a weight that I'd been carrying for years had just been taken off of me. Any frustrations I was dealing with, and I was dealing with a lot in 2010, I could just let them go, at least in that moment. The song has continued to do that for me ever since I first heard it. It wouldn't be that much longer until I heard Iridescent live, this time making me an emotional mess in a crowd of hundreds of people. I saw Linkin Park for the first time at their 1,000 Suns release show at the Best Buy Theater in New York City on September 14th, 2010. It was such an intimate venue, the only show they played in America that year, and one of the best parts was, it was being filmed.
The Best Buy Theater, headlining, first ever show.
Wait, did you see that? You can totally see me right there, waiting in line to see the band. Videos from this show for New Divide, Waiting for the End, Numb, and The Catalyst were played on the music channel Fuse for months, and you can totally see me in the crowd. Knowing the show was going to be filmed, this was the only personal footage I took at the show. It was also the first time the band ever played the song Wretches and Kings for a live crowd. At the end of the show, Mike Shinoda grabbed my hand, and the girl who was next to me gratefully did this praying motion holding our hands and thanking us for coming. I felt a little bad because the girl didn't know me and quickly yanked her hand back as soon as Mike left. But oh well, still a great moment. The very next year, I saw Linkin Park again, this time at Madison Square Garden in New York City on February 4th. I had a VIP ticket to that show, which meant I got to go into this dining area and it had all of these televisions blasting Linkin Park music. That was also my first Linkin Park Underground meet and greet experience, which was absolutely astounding. I won prizes answering Linkin Park trivia during both the meet and greet and the VIP treatment. Here's an image of me answering the question, can someone name the bands members of the band were a part of before they became Linkin Park? Everyone at the meet and greet got to group together to take these photos. When meeting the band, I tried to talk to everyone, saying I loved Joe's directing work and I told Mike I loved the new music, but it went by so fast. When I got to Chester and showed him the picture we took together, he said he remembered me. I also asked him to sign my iPod because he was my favorite singer. Stupid me back then, not putting tape on that immediately. It's since faded. The next time I'd see the band wouldn't be until August 19th of 2014. Once again, I'd won a meet and greet to talk to the band before the show. My family and I arrived at the venue a little more than 2 hours before the concert. We got to our seats and looked down at the view. I was so excited. The stage itself was so beautiful, by far the best I'd ever seen, surrounded by water. This was going to be amazing. After AFI's set, I located the LPU meet and greet location. While waiting, someone pointed to the front of the line exclaiming, "Hey, it's Han!" And holy crap, it was. He was walking down our line to greet us and sign our items. You might be wondering what I was getting signed. I had one of my sketchbooks with me. My mission was to get all 6 guys to sign on a blank page. because on my arm with the Linkin Park symbol tattooed on my wrist, I planned on getting the guys' signatures tattooed as well. This was a plan of mine ever since I thought of the possibility of meeting the guys again, and I refused to get any of my old signatures from them tattooed. I wanted the band to know how much they meant to me in that moment, and have the signatures represent that. Oh, and here's Mr. Hahn. Soon after he signed my sketchbook, I was handed my meet and greet pass. Then we saw Rob walking down the line, and soon after that Brad, who was kind of speedrunning through all the signatures, so I couldn't really say anything other than my thanks to him. We then moved to the official meet and greet area, though not before I could give Lorenzo, who I recognized as the head of the LPU, my thanks. Mike then came out to greet us and get an early start on his signatures. I told him I was going to get it tattooed, and he said, well, I better make this a good one then. And he took a solid minute on the signature, which some of you may recognize as the symbol for his new solo album, Post Traumatic. I gave him my thanks, and he went on to talk to the rest of his fans about inside jokes regarding his Linkin Log videos. After a few more group photos, you can see me raising my fist with the Linkin Park symbol on it. We all got in line for the rest of our signatures. This meet and greet felt a lot more intimate than the Madison Square Garden meet and greet. Instead of people lining up to greet the guys at a table, all of the guys came to us instead, and took the time to listen and talk to us for extended periods of time. While waiting to meet Phoenix and Chester again, I talked to Lorenzo. I told him he was doing a fantastic job with the LPU, and he told me about his first Linkin Park show, and how these shows mean so much to him too. Phoenix started coming down the line and signed a page in my sketchbook after I told him about the tattoo. He then shook my hand. While this was happening, Chester started coming down on the other side of the line, which made me one of the last people he was going to talk to. When he finally got to me, I told him I was getting his signature tattooed under the Linkin Park symbol, and he said that was awesome. I then said this was our third time meeting, with our first being at, and I raised my left wrist to show him the Dead by Sunrise symbol, the Dead by Sunrise show in 2009. He said it was really good to see me again, and hugged me. I then asked, since Mike had done the ALS Ice Bucket challenge the night before and called Chester out to do it within 24 hours.
I was challenged by Steve Aoki to do the Ice Bucket Challenge. We're gonna donate the money to, we're gonna challenge Chester Bennington, Tim Ferriss, Lisa Ling, Austin Carlisle.
If he was going to do it that night, he said yes, and I just decided to tell him right there how much that meant to me. Because as I said earlier, I had lost my dad to ALS, and Chester's voice, it helped me through that experience in those 8 years at that point living without my dad. He then told me, I'm gonna do the challenge, and I'm gonna do it for your dad. I'm not gonna lie, I started to shake and get a bit emotional. Here was Chester Bennington, one of my heroes, once again telling me something that just meant everything to me, and he could tell, and came to hug me again. I just thanked him repeatedly. That's all I could do. The LPU crew then took this picture. This was the last time I ever got to talk like that with Chester. I thanked Lorenzo repeatedly and ran back to my seat, absolutely awestruck, catching the end of the 30 Seconds to Mars set, confetti falling down from the air. It was a perfect moment. I got back to my seat, told my family what Chester said, my mother in tears. I showed her my signatures, and we waited for Linkin Park to take the stage. There's Joe, Brad, Rob, Mike, Phoenix, and Chester. Wait a second. Oh, huh. Yeah, so on the very first page, it was inspired by a Castle of Glass performance that they did at some sort of video game award show. Anyway, the show was incredible. It was one of the best sets that Linkin Park, in my opinion, has ever done. After the show, as Chester had promised me, he did the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yesterday, Mike accepted the challenge, the Ice Bucket Challenge, and he challenged me to take the bucket. So today, I accept money for ALS, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease. I'm going to accept the bucket. I will also make a donation on behalf of my family. Hi. This is Tyler, Lila, and Lily. I'm going to sit down here and prepare myself, because I'm pretty sure my penis is going to disappear. Okay, here we go. Wow, okay.
It was the perfect ending to an amazing night. The speakers then started to play the hilariously awesome Linkin Park and Smash Mouth mashup of In the End and All Star. As I sat down in the seats, watching everyone leave the venue, trying to take in everything that just happened. I was going to see Linkin Park again in Albany, New York on January 21st of 2015, but Mike did tweet me that year though, so that was cool. Read Anna Shinoda's book, by the way. In 2017, Linkin Park took command of the pop genre with their album One More Light, and man, I love that album. I remember when they put out Heavy, everyone was freaking out whether they were a genre elitist or not, and I immediately realized what they were doing. When Linkin Park releases a new song, it catches you off guard. It challenges your perceptions, and I so appreciate that. It humanizes creators of all music, as difficult as that sometimes can be to realize. Something that always crosses my mind is that every song you hate is someone else's favorite song. You can find art anywhere and in anything. Anyone can be an artist. Ultimately, I personally believe that there is no right or wrong with art, as long as your intent isn't to cause someone pain. Even then, there's a gray area because we also have the martial arts. When I finally got to listen to the full album, man, let's just talk about the title track of One More Light. It took a long time for me to get through that song without my eyes getting absolutely glassed up. It had such a powerful impact on me and brought a huge rush of my past experiences to the forefront of my mind. And spoiler for my top 20 favorite Linkin Park songs video, but after a couple of days with the album, it became my new favorite song ever. It has remained in that position. I don't know if it will ever be replaced. I know it might not make sense to a lot of people. How can something that is just so hard to listen to be your favorite? Because when you've gone through so many experiences that so many people often have the reaction of, you've been through so much, I can't imagine how rare it is to have something encapsulate those exact feelings you've had and the message you've needed in one powerful piece of art. I need to remember these experiences I've been through. I need to remember these people who have been in my life, the impact they have had on me. I need to know that they mattered. Mike said recently,
People used to ask me, back when we put out our first album, they said, oh, your album was so angry, your album was so angsty, blah, blah, blah. And what all of us knew that they didn't know was that it wasn't about the negativity, it was about getting the negativity out and coming to a show and being positive. And letting all that bad stuff come out so that it didn't come out in other places in a negative way. Are we right? All right. So sing this as loud as you can.
I've always felt like I was growing, maturing, expanding my horizons with the band. They helped show me that if I'm going to create anything, I need to do what makes me happy and not express myself in a sense of simply attempting to make everyone else happy. I can't remain stagnant in the same rap rock song. I need to thrive and dip my foot in the waters of anything that is going to expand my horizons enlighten my experiences, and give me some damn perspective. When I think of Linkin Park, I think of these 6 guys that are really enthusiastic and expressive about the things they love, and never half-ass their creative process. I think of these 6 men who gave and gave and gave. I think of these 6 nerds who have chibi figurines of themselves and a customized Gundam. I'd show mine off, but they're in storage at the moment. Hell, before it was a meme to make an anime music video with Linkin Park music, they did it themselves with Breaking the Habit. I think of these 6 people that never put off this celebrity, I'm better than you vibe, ever. They made music that made you feel like you weren't alone in this fight. And when you actually got to talk to them, you felt like they were really listening. You felt like they really cared. I know people say to never meet your heroes, but I guess I got lucky with mine. I've always prided myself in being a Linkin Park fan, even when it wasn't popular in doing so. I remember when I'd play video games and when they'd give you the option to add a signature or draw a symbol that represented you in the game, like in Pokemon, Mario Kart, or Miiverse, I'd always involve Linkin Park's logo. If you looked in my iTunes music collection and clicked on the Linkin Park playlist, you'd find over 4 days worth of music, whether it's off the albums, yearly LPU releases, side projects, appearances on other tracks, live performances, covers, you name it. It's on that playlist. I met my girlfriend through a chance encounter online because of a conversation involving Linkin Park on some other guy's Facebook post. I moved in with her over a year ago. I moved halfway across the country because of this band. Some people still might think it's absolutely ridiculous that I have signatures tattooed on my arm. First of all, aside from what I mentioned earlier, I simply just like looking down at the signatures, feeling like I just got my arm signed last night, as if I won a meet and greet again and came home from yet another Linkin Park concert. Being at one of their shows, it was one of the best feelings that you could experience in your entire life. And looking down at these signatures, it brings me back to that feeling from time to time. Also, it's a reminder that the people you look up to are people, just like you and me. It's a reminder that you can meet your heroes and have conversations with them, and exchange kind words and appreciation for each other on equal ground. And that's something I think is really important to remember. To not hold these celebrities to a higher standard and place them on this pedestal, believing that they're more than human, so above you that you could never shake their hand or give them a hug out of appreciation for everything they've done for you. Which I'm sure when people look at my arm, that's probably what they think I do. But that's my explanation, and I'm sticking to it. I always want to be reminded of Chester's kindness and how he humbled himself to me and every other member of the Linkin Park community. One of the only communities I've ever truly felt accepted in. Chester's voice gave me the advice and hope that I wish my dad could give me right now. Chester Bennington is the reason I'm the person I am. And I just want people to know how amazing he was. Thanks for watching. Fans of Linkin Park, please put in the comments below some of your favorite experiences with the band. Whether it be a concert experience, a song that got you through a difficult time, or your favorite album. Let other people know how incredible this band is, and let other Linkin Park fans know that they are not alone. Thank you. There's an entire section on my blog dedicated to Linkin Park where you can find pictures, music videos, audio clips, GIFs, hidden gems, you name it. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys.